Part 291. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2908. Because there are too many trees in this clump, several nearby trees have been entangled with dingong vines, so Manbao cut a lot, and also chose a tree that didn't look too big and dug up the roots. Can't fit. Manbao asked Daji to pull a piece of vines, tie it up in a ball, and carry it directly away. Among the people Bai Shan left for Zhou Man, there was only one Yaman, who led the way and translated, and the others were his own guards. I have watched Zhou Man's behavior of digging flowers and grass and breaking branches for more than 10 years, and I have long been used to it, so the group is not in a hurry. If she wants to enter the mountain, she will enter the mountain. It's normal to see a bird chasing for a long time and trying to catch them. It's a pity that the bird that the lady was looking at was not caught in the end, and she didn't like other birds. Everyone could only look up at the bird and disappeared into the trees. I don't know where it went. Manbao looked back regretfully and asked Keek, "Is there any more?" Keek is also very sorry, but it also knows that animals are not like plants, they can stay still for the host to record, so it is very eager to say, "There is a plant that can be recorded 858 meters ahead to the right. In front of the right, that is the direction of the road, this is okay," so the group walked forward, and after seeing the path, they crossed it and went forward for a while, and found a plant in the mountain on the other side. Manbao also dug up some of the more precious herbs she saw on the road, herbs she had not seen before. It's a pity that these herbs encyclopedias are there, which means that the world has ready-made, so it can't be included, so Manbao digs and uses it by himself. Manbao put all these herbs in the back basket, and after digging up this plant, there will be no plants that have not been included in the scanning range of Keek. Manbao happily took the people to the road, and then rode on the horse. A Yaman quickly ran back to find them, and said loudly, "Master Zhou, we found the village ahead, it is Xiaojing village, and it is not far from Dying village. Lord, let the humble office pick you up." "Is it far?" The Yaman said, "It's not very close. Mainly because the sun is about to go down, how did they come out 3 or 4 miles? Caused him to run all the way and thought he had missed it, and felt uneasy in his heart. But we have horses, fast, and we should be there before dark." The group rushed forward, filled with treasure for half an hour, and couldn't help but look back at the winding road, and responded, "We are running around the mountain, right?" "Yes, Xiaojing village is also at the foot of a mountain. It turns out that it is right to walk along this mountain." Xiaojing village was at the foot of the mountain. Manbao looked up at the familiar mountain. Although it looked a little different from another direction, the ding-dong sound from Keek was the same. Manbao asked Keek, "Is this the mountain behind Xiaoliu village?" Keek, "Yes." Manbao raised his eyebrows and saw Bai Shan brought a group of people out to meet her. She laughed and walked towards Bai Shan. Bai Shan introduced her, "This is Chief Jiu Li, and this is Village Chief Huai of Xiaojing village. This is Mr. Zhou, Ling Zhou of the Qingzhou Medical Bureau, and his wife." Jiu Li came new and had seen them. After all, Bai Shan had summoned them twice after he took office. One of them was Zhou's decree, who also introduced the Qingzhou Medical Center and asked them to publicize the medical office to the people under his control. Jerry Chang immediately took the people behind him and went forward to salute Zhou Man. Zhou Man raised his hand to excuse them from the ceremony, and said with a smile, "I'm here for a free clinic, so you don't need to be too polite." She turned her head to look at Wen Tiandong and asked, "Has the banner of the free clinic been hung up?" "It's out," Wen Tiandong said. "The student has already introduced the medical office to the villagers in Xiaojing village, and several households said that they had patients at home and wanted to seek treatment, but it was not an emergency, and it was getting dark now. So plan to see it tomorrow." Zhou Man nodded and said, "Very good, I will see Xiaojing village tomorrow, and I will go to Dying village to have a look." We have only established the medical office. We must strive to let every citizen know about the existence of the medical office. If you get sick in the future, if other medical centers and pharmacies can't diagnose and treat, I still know how to go to the medical office to try it out. Wen Tiandong responded obediently, but knew that this was not for him, but for Jia Liking and others on the side. It's not that he didn't know the truth. Mr. Zhou rarely said things like this outside, but now he's deliberately talking about it, which seems a bit contrived. The only thing Wen Tiandong can think about in the near future is the mountain bandit in Xiaoliu village, so he is very well behaved, for fear that a wrong word will arouse suspicion. There are more than 100 mountain bandits in the legend, and there are only a dozen of them in this group. As expected, Jia Liking didn't think about Xiaoliu village at all, he just thought Bai Shan and the others came from the county seat, so he welcomed them into the village very enthusiastically. He felt that Xiaojing village was a bit shabby, so he pointed to a few chimneys curling up at the end of the field. "Sir, please see, there is Dying village, not far from the past, it is more spacious and rich, otherwise the adults will move to Dying village." Bai Shan stood on the side of the road and looked up, smiled and said, "It's not too far away, we'll go there tomorrow, and we'll stay in Xiaojing village tonight." He said, "This county also wants to learn more about Xiaojing village. When I entered the village just now, I saw that many wheat fields were harvested. I wonder how the harvest will be this year. Jia Li has long been prepared, isn't Bai Shan going to the countryside just to persuade Nong Sang? Although it is far from the county seat, he has been in the city twice, and he has connections with other Liqiangs. He has long known that the county magistrate pays special attention to agricultural affairs. Therefore, he said with ease, this year's harvest is much better than last year, which is also the blessing of your Lord. It has rained a few times since the Lord took office, and then it was sunny immediately. It can be said that the weather was good, and the wheat grew very well. It was the first time Zhou Man saw Bai Shan being so obviously flattered, and he looked at it strangely. It was also the first time for Bai Shan to be praised against nature like this, and it was very novel, but it was a pity that he didn't feel very happy, but felt embarrassed, especially when there was a man Bao with bright eyes standing beside him. He coughed lightly, and waited for the rear to finish speaking before asking, "So this year's harvest is not bad?" "Yes, this year's harvest is really good. Even if it is bad, it can't be said that it is bad. The county magistrate has personally visited the countryside. How can it be bad?" Bai Shan nodded and asked, "How was the harvest last year?" "Jerry Chang, it's far less than this year." Bai Shanxiang wondered how the Lu County magistrate would feel when he heard this answer. He smiled, turned around and walked towards the village chief's house and asked the village chief Huai, who was standing behind, "I don't know how many bags of wheat your family received last year. Since the general situation is reluctant to be honest, it is better to ask for the detailed figures. If you don't believe it, they can still make a seamless panic. See you at 11 o'clock. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2909. Bai Shan came so suddenly, neither Chief Jia Li nor village chief Huai were prepared, so when Bai Shan asked about it in detail, they got stuck. Village chief Huai could only wipe his sweat and reduce last year's harvest by subtracting some. But Bai Shan didn't just ask about 1 year, not just the Communist Party. He would also ask how much land the village chief had, where the land was, and what was the harvest last year and the year before. In addition to asking the village chief, he can also ask the villagers. So halfway through the conversation, the village chief hadn't reacted yet, and Chief Jia Li was already in a cold sweat. He found that the numbers before and after the question seemed inconsistent. In the end, it was getting dark outside, and the topic stopped after everyone went to eat. In the end, Chang Jiali went back to Dying village worriedly. As soon as Jia Liking left, Bai Shan smiled and asked the village chief Huai, "How long does it take to get to Dying village from here?" Village chief Huai said, soon. It took more than a quarter of an hour to take a shortcut from the ground, and it took 2/4 of an hour to walk up and down. That was indeed not long. The county remembers that in addition to Dying Village and Xiaojing Village, Chief Jerry also manages a Xiaoliu village. Where is Xiaoliu village? Village Chief Huai stretched his finger in one direction and said, just behind that mountain. Bai Shan looked at the past, but it was dark now, and at first glance it was pitch black, and he couldn't see it at all, so he asked, is there a way to get there from that mountain? No, the village chief said, Lu village has only one road to the outside, and you have to go back according to the road when the adults came in the afternoon. There is a small road up the mountain. From there, you just need to go over the mountain. The village chief sighed, that place is too far away, it's hard to find, and I haven't walked there for a long time. I don't know if the paths are covered with grass. When the adults came, they were riding horses, so they probably didn't notice it. You don't go out often. The village chief smiled and said, I'm old, and it's far from the town. What are you going to do? Then is there a market between your villages? Yes, in Dongshan village, from the other side of Dying village. Then the people from Xiaoliu village will not come down to the market. Come here occasionally. It's a remote place, and it's hard to get in and out. If they cross the mountain and come out, there's no need to come over to catch the market here, just go directly to the town. Is the town closer than Dongshan village? No, the village chief Huai said without Jiuli, and said directly, it's farther than coming to Dongshan village, but everything in the town is complete, they have already climbed over the mountain, and there must be a lot of things to buy. Who will come to Dongshan village? Anyway, the town is not much farther than Dongshan village. Bai Shan, when we came from the county seat, we saw a fork down. Where is the town? Yes, we have to go down a long way to get there. Bai Shan nodded and let the village chief Huai go to rest. Bai Shan turned around and went back to the house arranged for him, where Manbao was playing with her herbs, and they lit the candles they brought, so the light was okay. Bai Shandao, tomorrow I will leave everyone to you, you will stay in Xiaojing village for free clinic, and I will go to Dying village. Manbao looked up at him and said, I'll go with you. Just as Bai Shan was about to speak, Manbao whispered, it's only safe to bring me, and since the hands are scattered, it's not easy to escape in case of an accident, it's better to be together. Bai Shan stopped talking. Early the next morning, when they woke up, Jia Likang arrived, which shows how dedicated he was. He came here before dawn. Manbao and Wen Tiandong hung up the banners of the free clinic, and only 3 people came to see them. This time Manbao did not ask them about their physical conditions one by one. They only treated those who came, and cleaned up after the medicine was prescribed. Dongzi and Beishan walked to Dying village. Along the way, Bai Shandu was looking at the young people in Xiaojing village. When he noticed that there were not many people in the village, he asked with a smile, today, all the people in the village went to the ground to harvest wheat. Yes, Jia Likang said in front of village chief Huai, you can't go wrong with the farming season. After the wheat is harvested, you will have to plant rice, so you have to hurry up and harvest it. Bai Shan nodded approvingly, yes, don't miss the agricultural time. He looked left and right and said, let's go to the fields to see how the wheat is this year. I also want to see the rice fields where you are raising seedlings. Jia Likang and Huai village chief said that there was no problem, and led them to the field to watch people harvest the wheat. Perhaps it was because they knew that an official came to see them harvest wheat. Today, the people in the field were very excited and worked very hard. Especially after seeing Bai Shan, they moved faster. Bai Shan went to the field and looked at the young and middle-aged people in the field. Seeing that their arms were strong, he patted their shoulders with satisfaction and praised, yes, so hard-working, why not be rich? Jia Liking and Huai village chief were very happy to hear Bai Shangqua, so they stopped walking and went directly to Dying village through the fields. Dying village is also harvesting wheat, and the fields of the two villages are intersected. Some fields in Xiaojing village are allocated to the other side of Dying village, and Dying village naturally also has fields allocated to this side, but the closer to Dying village, the fields on the other side. Most of them belong to the villagers of Dying village. Bai Shan didn't go straight, but walked wherever he saw people. In addition to watching them harvest wheat, he also asked about the situation in the fields. After getting to know them, I will take a serious look at the young and strong people in the family. If I meet the strong ones, I will applaud them and pat them on the shoulders. If they meet the thin, I will tell them to eat more and exercise more. Dajin regards strength as beauty. When he was about to walk into Dying village, Bai Shan noticed that there were several young men in a field, but there were no women, no older children or old people, so he walked over curiously. Everyone turned around together. Just when he reached the ground, it happened that a young man got up and came to the field with a bundle of wheat in each hand. Bai Shan swept his face for a while, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, and then looked at the other party with an expression of admiration and satisfaction. This young man is not bad, he looks very strong. Man Bao also saw the other person's face, and slowly looked away to look at other people's faces, and after seeing two familiar people, he tilted his head and spoke to Wen Tiandong, "You have a medicine box on you, you have to follow closely. If it is heavy, carry the medicine box on the backs of the guards." Wen Tiandong also felt that the young man who approached was too familiar, especially the portrait he saw at Lord Bai last night. He glanced at the gentleman and nodded, but he still carried his medicine box on his back and did not move. The young man walked over with a smile on his face, and greeted Jia Li Chang cheerfully, "Li Chang, why did you come to the field? It's hot." The smile on Jia Likang's face was faint, but he still smiled and said to him, "Didn't you see the magistrate here? Come up and meet the adults. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow are holidays, so no more. See you tomorrow." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2910. The young man stepped forward, and Jia Liking and Bai Shan introduced, "This is a nephew of my clan, and he is the eldest in his family. The adults can call him Jia Dalan." Bai Shan called him with a smile, glanced at the young man behind him, and said with admiration, "It seems that your family has a good family background. Do you have so many brothers?" Jia Dalan immediately said, "These are not my brothers in my family, they are my friends, but we are also close as brothers. They have a small land and know that my family wants to harvest wheat, so they came here to help." Bai Shan nodded approvingly, "Yes, there is a chivalrous style." Bai Shan turned his head and asked Jia Liking, "Are they all helping people in Xianli?" "There are only 200 soldiers in Bihai County, and there are more than 200 people including the yamen. Generally, the soldiers only guard the city gate. They can only be called in when there is war or when mountain bandits are arrested. In other cases, the yamen of the county government are in charge. Bihai County is said to be small, but the area under its jurisdiction is actually not small." You can see that Bai Shan has not traveled all over Bihai County for a month when he went to the countryside. Therefore, for the safety of the county and to communicate with the village, in addition to the soldiers and yamen, there are also non-staff members. Security personnel. These people are called gangxian. They don't have wages, but they often go to the countryside. Brave, chivalrous, and loving and helping others are the main evaluation criteria. The mayor calls them when they need to run errands, and although they don't get paid, they can do a lot of things. For example, for a trip to the county seat, although the mayor does not pay wages, he will ask his family to prepare dry food for them and give them a little entry fee. Can earn a little. This is a small favor. If it is a big one, they do well. In the future, the village chiefs of the villages are likely to be selected from among them. Even if the yamen chooses yamen servants, the chiefs also have recommended places, and most of them will be from the helpers. Recommended in the past. At that time, if the county government examination is passed, then you can become a government servant. So doing help is something that many young people want to do. Jia Likane looked at Bai Shan's smiling face and wanted to say directly that he was not, but he felt a burning gaze staring at him from the side. Jia Likane was angry, but he had to suppress his temper and said, "Yes, this child is filial, and he often runs errands to do anything in the village." Bai Shan looked at Jia Dalan with satisfaction, reached out and patted his shoulder, and praised, "Yes, a good young man should do his best for the people and serve the country." Jia Dalan looked very happy, and immediately clasped his fists and saluted, "This is what a young man should do. It should not be praised by adults. There is still a lot of unfinished business." Bai Shan looked at him more and more approvingly, and simply asked, "How many acres of land do you have in your family, and how much wheat have you harvested?" Jia Dalan answered them one by one, and Bai Shan took him by his side and walked around the wheat field outside Dying Village. After entering Dying Village at noon, he said, "Go back to work first. But the sun is getting bigger now, don't get too much sun to avoid heat stroke." Very gentle and respected his appearance. Jia Dalan responded one by one, then bowed and stepped back. Seeing him turn around, Bai Shan didn't go far. He turned his head and smiled at Jia Likane. "Jia Likane, your nephew is not bad, Kongwu is strong, and he knows how to advance and retreat." These words were not loud, but Jia Dalan, who had just left the yard, still heard it, and the corners of his mouth curled slightly, looking very happy. Jia Likane smiled reluctantly, but he didn't dare to show it in front of Bai Shan, so he could only say, "Your Excellency is too famous, there are many better young people in the village than him." Bai Shan asked with a smile, "Is it the group of young people working behind him in the morning? It looks really good." Jerry could hardly hold back his laughter. Frightened enough of Jia Likane, Bai Shan stayed in Dying Village. Man Bao also supported the banner of the free clinic according to his plan, greeted the men, women, and children in the village to attend a generalization class, and promoted the medical department. And saw a few people who were not in good health for free, and gave them medicines. After proving that the free clinics of the medical office really don't need money, they ushered in the peak of medical treatment. Bai Shan walked around Dying Village, learned about the harvest in the past 2 years, and took a look at the seedlings in the fields. Then he followed Zhou Man to watch the people coming and going, and went to some people's houses for a stroll. Guest. He is the county magistrate and can go to almost anyone he wants. He didn't care, he saw the well-built house and went in to sit and drink a cup of tea. When he saw the poorly built house, he also went in to sit and drink a sip of water, talking about farming and going to the market and so on. The appearance of the county magistrate of class Nong Sang Hao. After 2 days like this, the yamen from the county seat came over and whispered in Bai Shan's ear. Bai Shan raised his eyebrows when he heard it, got up and said to Daji, "I know about the situation in the village. Go and ask madam how the patient is doing." Daji went out, and came in after a while and said, "My lady said that everyone who came to seek medical treatment in the village has seen it, and the adults can go back at any time." Only then did Bai Shan say to Jia Li, "I have to go back to deal with some matters in the county, and I will start my journey back today." Jia Likane hurriedly retained, "Don't you stay for a few days, my lord? I also asked people to go up the mountain to hunt game. We are here to find seafood, but not so common in mountain delicacies, so." Bai Shan smiled and said, "I won't eat it, next time." He instructed Chief Jia Li, Farming is a major national matter. As the chief of the district, you must take care of the affairs of the farming and mulberry fields under your jurisdiction. I think the weather has been good these few days, your wheat harvest is almost finished, and the next rice transplanting will also be done. Don't miss the hour. Jerry respectfully responded. When Bai Shan walked out, he remembered something, turned his head and said, "By the way, the young people in your village are good. The county sees them as strong, wise, and capable. I don't know if they are willing to go with me to the county office." He smiled and said, "I first arrived in Bihai County, and there are still a few places in the county government that have not been filled. I have never been able to find young people who are both loyal and understand the village. I think a few Jia Dalan are good." Chang Jiali immediately refused, "They are just Yamano villagers. How can they compare to the people in the county? The adults look down on them too much." He said, "They don't understand the rules, they behave rudely, and they go to the county town because they are afraid they will cause trouble for the magistrate. Besides, their families are all here, and the county town is too far from dying village." Bai Shan noticed that someone was approaching outside the hospital, so he smiled regretfully, "This county thinks it's good, but if they don't want to leave home, that's fine, and this county can't force them." The voice just fell, the courtyard door was pushed open, Jia Dalan strode in, and said a little excitedly, "Sir, I will wait." He glanced at Jia Likane, knelt down on one knee with a thud, and said to Bai Shan, "Being able to serve the adults is a blessing for the young Sans Hung, but the adults have orders, and the little ones will not obey." Bai Shan looked surprised, then looked at him approvingly and said, "Okay." He smiled and said, "Since you are willing, then go pack your luggage and go back to the county seat with me, where the county government." He pondered for a moment, then turned to look at Daji. Daji said expressionlessly, "There are still 6 people missing. Yesterday, there were 5 people working in the field with Jia Dalan, and together with him, there were exactly 6. See you at 6 p.m. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2911. Bai Shan smiled and said, "You can choose 5 friends to bring with you, but I can't tell you whether they can enter the county, Yaben County, you have to see it, but the county thinks you are good, wait until you should follow the county's side, county magistrate." Jia Dalan was overjoyed and immediately responded. He glanced at Jia Likane, then glanced at the other party with a half-smile, then bowed to Bai Shan and stepped back. As early as when Bai Shan arrived at Xiaojing village, he realized that his opportunity had come. The salt farm on the other side of Longqi stopped, and it was said that the county magistrate couldn't bear the Song family's control over the affairs of the county government, and they confronted the Song family. Jia Dalan felt that the county magistrate should be in a state of urgent need for employment. In this case, if someone like him appeared, the magistrate might recruit him. Sure enough, as soon as he appeared, the other party's eyes lit up when he looked at him. Of course, Bai Shan let out light. He exhaled, feeling that the matter of bringing people back was settled. However, Jia Likane's eyes were dark, and he felt that his heart was in his throat. Seeing that the Yamen guards were already packing their luggage, he made an excuse to go out, saying that he wanted to prepare some local products for Bai Shan. "What local products can Oi village have?" He directly asked his wife to buy more eggs, and then grabbed 2 chickens to bring to Bai Shan, and then he sneaked out to find Jia Dalan. Jia Dalan was packing his luggage at home. He was very straightforward. He dug out a few pieces of clothes from the cabinet and put them on a piece of cloth, tied them up and left. Jia Likane came in and grabbed his sleeve. "Jia Dalan, what do you want to do?" Jia Dalan threw off his hand and looked at him with a sneer. "What are you doing? Of course you are going to the future. You don't want to die," Jia Likane said in a low voice. "You did such a thing, not to mention hiding from the officials, and even rushing to send it up." Jia Dalan sneered, If you don't tell me, I won't tell you, and everyone won't tell me. How could the officials know about this? You block me in every possible way, but you are jealous that I stole the future of your sons. You, Jia Likane was furious. What nonsense are you talking about? I didn't mention them to the county magistrate. Jia Dalan, I won't stop you if you want to kill me, but you are not allowed to drag the villagers to death. Why did I take the people from the village to send them to death? Jia Dalan stared down at Jia Likane and said, the people of Xiaoliu village are trapped in the mountains and can't get out. Yeah, will do. He sneered and said, but when I gain a firm foothold in the county office, you just didn't stop me. I'm not afraid to let them go. There are some of our brothers who stop them. He stared at Li Chang fiercely like a wolf and said, I was worried before that they didn't know when they would go to the county office to file a complaint. We received the news late and couldn't stop it, but as long as I go to the county office, I'm still afraid. Are they going to sue again? Jia Likane looked at Jia Dalan with chills all over his body. When Jia Dalan saw that he had given in, he sneered, carried the burden, and took out a money bag from the closet by the bedside. When he went out, he saw his family standing outside the yard, and he said, you can collect the wheat at home yourself. Now, I followed the county magistrate to the future. Father Jia said with a sullen face, don't come back when you leave, just pretend that you don't have a son at home. Jia Dalan sneered at his father, I want to come back, the harvest in that field is half of mine, why not come back? He glanced at his mother and said very unhappily, Dad, don't beat my mother. You must know that you still beat my mother. When I come back, I will pay you back as many punches as you beat her. Father Jia jumped and was furious, rebel. Jia's mother timidly shrank aside and did not speak. Jia's father turned his head and saw that he became more and more annoyed. He picked up the sickle not far away and threw it at her. Jia Erlang's expression changed, and he reached out and dragged his mother, and the sickle flew past her face and hit the wall. When Jia Dalan saw it, he dropped his burden and rushed towards his father, clenching his fists and punching. Father Jia was punched twice. He was angry, and shouted, Nizai, come and see, my lord, I've beaten his father. Jia Dalan hit harder, his fist hit the flesh and made a banging sound. Jia Likane was frightened when he heard the sound, for fear of causing death, he stepped forward and persuaded, don't hit, you are not. Do you still want to follow the adults to the county seat? The trouble is big, do you think the adults will still take you? Only then did Jia Dalan stop, just grab a rag and stuff it into his father's mouth, then dragged him into the house like mud, tied him with a rope, and went out satisfied when he couldn't make a sound. He turned his head to the younger brothers and sisters standing outside and said, I'll untie him when I'm far away, do you hear me? Jia Dalan's younger siblings nodded numbly. Jia Dalan picked up the burden on the ground and turned away. Jia Likane looked at Jia Dalan, who was far away, and at the size of the Jia family. Finally, he sighed, shook his head, and followed. The movement here still failed to hide Zhou Man, mainly because Keek knew about it, couldn't hold back, and reminded the host. So Man Bao curiously spent a sum of points to watch the live version of father and son fighting each other, husband and wife fighting each other. She knew it, and so did Bai Shan. Of course, Bai Shan is the language description version of listening. He just thought it was the little father-in-law who saw what he told Man Bao, and when he heard Father Jia stabbed his wife with a sickle in the face, his face sank slightly, and when he heard Jia Dalan press his father and beat him, he didn't stop, and his face became even more gloomy. He said, it shows the importance of education. Man Bao nodded again and again, and just as he was talking, Jia Dalan walked over with a look of joy with his 5 brothers. Seeing that the county magistrate and others had already prepared their luggage and waiting, he embarrassedly said to Bai Shan, Lord Lao is waiting. The parents of the little family are not at ease. It took me a while to settle them. Bai Shan and Zhou Man, that's really time consuming. Bai Shan smiled gently, it doesn't matter, since we've packed up, let's go. Jia Likane hurried back in a hurry and wanted to bring them the eggs and chickens he bought. Bai Shan declined. They had a lot of luggage. What would it look like with 2 chickens? Bai Shan asked the guards and the yamen to bring one more person per horse, and tried to slow down the speed of the horse to return to the county government. There was no way. Jia Dalan and the others had no horses. On the way, they met Lieutenant Dong County who came to look for them. Bai Shan didn't say anything to Jia Dalan and the others. They camped all night on the way, and only returned to the county town the next day when the sun was about to set. Bai Shan led the crowd to the county office. Once inside, Bai Shan went to the lobby, sat down first, and then looked out. There were a lot of yamen outside, and his face sank. He slapped the gavel and shouted, "Take it!" The yamen and guards rushed towards Jia Dalan and the others like tigers. Jia Dalan was shocked, and firstly exclaimed, "Sir!" Then it turned out that what they had done must have been exposed, so they struggled to flee. See you at 9. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2912. They have already entered the county government office. Can Lieutenant Dong tell them to run away? 3 people rushing at one person, can there be so many helpers on the side to tell them to run away? Jia Dalan struggled hard, roared, his face was bulging with blue veins, and he tried to raise his head when he was pressed to the ground by 2 people, staring at Bai Shan with resentment. "You did it on purpose, you did it on purpose, ah!" His eyes were red, and his hatred for Bai Shan almost overflowed. Bai Shan looked down at him and said, "Lock it up in jail." He glanced at the other 5, and then pointed to a man with a terrified face who was shaking the most. "Examine him first." With a wave of Captain Dong County's hand, the yamen locked up and dragged him to the prison, leaving only one person behind. Master Song, who was already preparing to leave, probably heard the roar from the lobby, and ran over to watch the excitement. "Your Excellency is back." Bai Shan was also a little surprised to see him. "Master Song has recovered." "Master Song, thank you for your concern, Xiaoguan's illness has been cured." "No, no," Bai Shan asked Zhao Ming to be the deputy chief clerk. Originally, he could hold his breath, but 2 days ago, Lieutenant Dong Xian came back with Bai Shan's handwritten letter and directly transferred Song Patrol from the city. Said that there were bandits in the village below, and Song Patrol was asked to lead troops to suppress the bandits. This is false at first glance, but Lieutenant Dong said that if Song Patrol is not feeling well, then he will lead the troops out of the city and hand it over to the Bai County Magistrate. The county magistrate is the highest official of a county, and he is in charge of finance, civil affairs, and military affairs. Lieutenant Dong has no right to take over the troops in the hands of the inspectors, but Bai Shan can. After returning with the official seal of Bai Shan and stamping the document with the official seal of Fang County's Prime Minister, Lieutenant Dong also had the power to take over temporarily. In the end, Master Song took a step back. He didn't want to make trouble with Bai Shan too ugly, so he asked Patrol Inspection Song to lead the soldiers and Lieutenant Dong Xian away, and Master Song also returned to the county office and started to do his own work. It's a pity that at least half of the power in the Cent was taken away. Part of it was held by Bai Shan himself, part of it was taken over by Fang Xiancheng, and part of it was distributed by Zhao Ming. In such a short period of time, half of the people in the household were taken away, and some were transferred away, and the remaining 2 were his confidants. Master Song was almost remorseful in his heart. When he saw Bai Shan at this time, he hated and was a little timid. He turned his eyes to the person who was kneeling on the ground, and asked curiously, "Who is this person?" Zhou Man, who saw the person being taken down, turned around and said to Bai Shan, "I'll go back first, you can interrogate slowly." Bai Shan nodded and looked at Daji, You also take someone back to rest. Zhou Man asked him, what would you like to eat at night? Bai Shan thought for a while and then said, let's be lighter, I want to drink winter melon dumpling soup. I'll let Mrs. do it when I go back. Zhou Man brought his luggage, and then he said hello to Master Song, and nodded with Wei Dong before leaving. Fang Xiancheng had already left the office, and was frightened by the roar that shook half the street, so he ran back to the county office. He encountered Zhou Man before entering the gate. He paused, and immediately bowed and saluted, Lord Zhou, are you and the county magistrate back? Zhou Man nodded, they are in the lobby. She didn't go back to the backyard through the small door. Their horse was still in the county office, so she went in and led her own horse through the corner door. When the hostess came back, the backyard came back to life immediately, and the kitchen was prepared with hot water. Mei and Julan took over the luggage from Zhou Man, and began to rummage through the boxes to find new clothes for her, and prepare to take a shower and wash her hair. As for the yamen in front, Bai Shan asked most of the yamen to retire, and only then did he answer Song Master Clerk's words, this is a mountain bandit. Master Song's eyes widened. Could it be that there are still bandits in Bihai County? The person who was pressed and kneeled on the ground was pale and blue, and his whole body was shaking even more. Bai Shan asked people to close the gate of the county government office, and then patted the Jingtang wood and said to everyone, there are many bandits in the mountains, and this is just a few of them, so the news cannot be leaked. His eyes looked at everyone sternly, and he paused when he swept over Song's master book. Master Song said immediately, don't worry, my lord, the lower officials will be tight-lipped. The yamen who were present responded one after another. Bai Shan then retracted his gaze, looked at the person lying on the ground, and waved to the two yamen who were holding him down to let him go. The yamen immediately let go, but stepped back on guard, but did not walk away immediately. But the body of the person lying on the ground was soft, and under the panic, he had no strength at all, let alone escape, he couldn't even get up and kneel. Bai Shan then grabbed Jingtang Mu and slapped it fiercely, shouting, Feng Das Han, haven't you confessed everything you've committed now? Feng Das Han shook his body and did not speak. Bai Shan sneered, do you think this county can't do anything about you if you don't open your mouth? Dying village is so remote, do you know why this county goes there to inspect? This county is there for you. Feng Das Han looked up in amazement. This county has long received a secret report saying that you people are doing harm to the village, pretending to be bandits to rob the villagers, and saying, how many people are there in your group and what are their names? Feng Das Han didn't believe it, it's impossible. What's impossible? If no one informs, how does this county know about it? You think it's seamless, but if you don't know how many people will leak it? Do you really think that all of you can keep it a secret? They can keep it a secret. Can their family keep it a secret? Feng Das Han thought along with Bai Shan's words, and suddenly broke out in cold sweat, and fell to the ground softly. There are many people who know about it, and not all the family members do not know at all. Who knows who is the whistleblower and who leaked it? Seeing that Feng Das Han was still grinding, Dong Xian glanced at Bai Shan, and after receiving his signal, he asked someone to bring some torture tools up, and threw them aside and asked him, which one do you want to try first? Anyway, we all know your crime if you recruit or not, why can't you think about it? Under the coercion of Bai Shan and Dong Xianwei, Feng Das Han finally confessed tremblingly, but he still kept it and was not willing to say too much. Bai Shan caught a few of them, and he recruited them all to participate. As for the others, he confessed a few more after his fingers were pinched, and he shouted that he didn't know the rest. He said, everyone was found by Brother Dallin, not only from our village, but also from other villages. When they came, they covered their faces, so I don't know who they are, I really don't know. When Bai Shan heard this, he frowned slightly and asked, how many of you are there? I don't know, Only Big Brother knows about this. Is it true, or is it false? Bai Shan sneered, you two go out together to rob, don't you know how many people there are? Dong Xianwei also stretched out his foot and kicked him, and said angrily, you fool us, right? See you tomorrow. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2913. Feng Das Han was kicked in pain, and shouted, no, no fooling, about 70 or 80 people like this, I haven't counted, I will count to 50. Bai Shan. Crowd. I didn't expect to lose in counting. It seems that in addition to teaching the people etiquette, righteousness, integrity, loyalty, filial piety, benevolence, and righteousness, they also have to teach them to count. Bai Shan reached out and rubbed his forehead. Those who will hang out with Jia Dalan are not good people, and usually do a lot of stealing. It took a lot of time just to confess these things. Bai Shan felt that most of Jia Dalan's staff were selected from the people who usually hang out with them. Because he asked very meticulously, he wrote down the names of the gangsters he had heard who liked to steal chickens and dogs just like them. Then he put the person in the prison. He also instructed Lieutenant Dong, don't be locked in a cell, be locked on the side, be nice to him tonight, give him a chicken leg to eat. Jia Dalan and others, who were tied up and thrown into the cell, only had a black-faced steamed bun and particularly thin porridge when they put food in the cell, but Feng Das Han on the opposite side not only had dry rice to eat, but also had a big chicken leg on it, thinking of them with his toes. I also know something is wrong. Immediately, someone couldn't help rushing to the door of the cell, and excitedly asked Feng Das Han opposite, did you confess? Did you confess? Feng Das Han was startled, holding the bowl and shrinking back, staying far away from them. He now has two knives hanging over his head, feeling very terrified, and said in horror, I don't confess to them, they all know. Do you think why were we arrested? Because someone informed the county magistrate about everything we did. Jia Dalan asked with hatred on his face, who is the whistleblower? Feng Das Han, I don't know, the magistrate didn't say. Jia Dalan asked, what did you confess to? A yeoman came over with a wooden stick, knocked hard on the cell door, and shouted loudly, what are you arguing about, what are you arguing about? If you are not hungry, hand me the meal, and you are not allowed to speak to me and pass on news. He made a serious threat to Feng Das Han, and knocked on his door fiercely, if you talk nonsense again, it will not be torture in the lobby. You haven't been to the torture room in our cell, have you? Be honest with me. Feng Das Han was terrified, so no matter how Jia Dalan and the others asked him, he would hide in the corner like a quail, not daring to say a word, and he couldn't even eat. The rice with the chicken legs was placed on the ground, and several prisoners in the cells nearby couldn't see it. They squeezed to the door and said to him, hey, coward, would you like to eat that meal for us? That's right, it's a waste of time. You should eat the meal you got from selling your brother. The big black man in the same cell with Jia Dalan couldn't help shouting loudly, I'm not afraid of choking you. Feng Das Han shrank a little tighter, and he couldn't help but murmured, don't blame me, I don't even mention the county magistrate, I know it, anyway, I need to know. Jia Dalan and the others still heard it, and their hearts sank after hearing this, and they glanced at each other. Yes, can they not know if they don't say Bai Shan? There were too many people involved in that incident at that time, and Feng Das Han also confessed, so I don't know how much he knew and how much he said. Jia Dalan was a little remorseful. There were too many people participating at that time, and it was too difficult to control. The next day, Bai Shan began to interrogate them one by one, but the people who finished the trial were not put back in the prison, but were held in the yard, kneeling, and each new person who was brought up walked by in the yard of the county government office, people can be seen kneeling there. Seeing that their faces were grey and defeated, no one knew how much they said, so they were interrogated by Bai Shan again, and they fell more and more. Finally, when it was Jia Dalin's turn to be interrogated, all the 5 people kneeling in the yard turned pale and had already shaking. Bai Shanyi asked a lot of things this morning. Jia Dalin's matter has not only involved one Li, but he has not only endangered dying village one Li, but also more than 300 households in the other 2 Li around him. This is considered a major and important case, especially judging from the confessions of the 5 people now. They will not eat lunch at this time, and continue the interrogation directly. Fang Xiancheng and the others were also alarmed and came over to watch. Dong Xianwei's face was the most ugly, and Fang Xiancheng and Song head clerk also looked at him. When such a big incident happened, it was obvious that Dong Xianwei was a big negligent. Even the county magistrate Lu, who has been promoted and left. However, after watching Lieutenant Dong Xian, the chief clerk looked at Fang Xiancheng, and said gloatingly, speaking of which, Fang Xiancheng has the responsibility of assisting the county magistrate, and the Fang Xiancheng should also be responsible for such an incident in dying village. Must be responsible, right? Fang Xiancheng did not speak. Dong Xianwei glanced at Master Song. Originally, he and Master Song had a good relationship. Although they were a little colder during this period because of Bai Shan Zong's use, they didn't hate each other. But now Wei Dong decides to hate Chief Booker Song. Master Song didn't know a word or a look, and he lost a friend, and he was still watching Bai Shan's trial with relish. Let's judge, and finally pull out the radish and bring out the mud, and pull out the magistrate of Lu in Qingzhou City. Shrewd and strong, with outstanding achievements. What kind of shrewdness is this to have brought such a den of bandits under the rule and have been in trouble for the village for many years? Even if the county magistrate Lu will not be dismissed, at least there will be a dark cloud over his career, and promotion will not be so easy in the future. Master Song felt that although this matter might not be self-interested, it would definitely hurt others, and it was the enemy that hurt, which was enough to make him happy. Jia Dalin was crushed to his knees on the ground. Bai Shan took a sip of tea, raised his eyes to look at him, lowered his head to read the confessions of the others, closed them and asked, "Are you a move?" Jia Dalin sneered, "The adults have already interrogated them, and they should know it. What's the difference between the trial and the trial?" Just now when he came in and saw the faces of the people kneeling in the yard, he knew that most of them had already recruited them. Not to mention, being a thief alone would kill them, not to mention that he still had a lot of money in his hands. Human life. Others may still have a chance to survive, but he certainly doesn't. Since they are going to die, is there any difference between recruiting and not recruiting? Bai Shan nodded, waved to the clerk who recorded the confession, and simply leaned back on the chair behind him, saying, "Then let's chat." He said, "Obviously you already know your crime, and this county does not treat you preferentially, but if you live forever, you are about to die. This county doesn't mind taking a moment to listen to your story." He said, "This county also wants to know, how did you grow up to be such a villain?" Jia Dalin no longer had the docile appearance he faced Bai Shan 2 days ago. He raised his head and snarled at him, "That is naturally the father is evil and the son is evil. My father is a bad person, and the son born is of course a bad person. See you at 6 p.m. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2914. Bai Shandao, what kind of villain is your father? Although Bai Shan doesn't quite agree with Jia Dalin's point of view, this does not prevent him from following his words. It is obviously impossible to interrogate him and make him confess bit by bit what he has done. In that case, let them chat. What kind of villain was Jia Dalin's father? Basically the same as he is now. Jia Dalin stopped kneeling, and sat on the ground with his buttocks, then folded his legs and sat cross-legged. Seeing him being so presumptuous, the Yamen couldn't help but get angry, and they were about to step forward to stop him. Bai Shan raised his hand to stop him and motioned Jia Dalan to continue. As far back as I can remember, my father was a bastard in the village. Everyone feared him, but looked down on him, and also looked down on my mother and me, saying that I was the son of a mouse, and I would only make holes in the future. As for him, he's very lazy. He basically doesn't do the work at home, leaving it to my grandparents and my mother. Later, my grandparents got pissed off by him, and only my mother and us are left to do the work at home. Jia Dalan sneered, but he also likes to drink and beat his wife. Once in the autumn harvest, his drinking broke my mother, and he couldn't get out of bed. The grain in the field was not harvested, and it just rotted in the field. People in the village were afraid of him, but the Yamen from the county who came to collect taxes were not afraid of him. They not only seized my house, but also locked him up for 3 months. When he came back, he wouldn't dare to let his work in the fields go. Don't do it. However, our days are not much better. He goes to work in the field, and when he is tired, he beats people. When it's hot, he beats people. When it's cold, he beats people when he's in a bad mood, and he sees you when he's in a good mood. If it's annoying, I still want to hit someone. Bai Shan. Crowd. Jia Dalan saw that his face was calm, although he looked speechless, but neither sympathized with him nor indignant. Jia Dalan grinned, feeling a little more cheerful, and continued, "At that time, my mother and I were working in the field while working in the field. He was beaten. Do you know how ruthless he was? One time, my mother was beaten so badly that she dragged my brothers and tried to escape back to her mother's house, but he caught up on the way and pushed my mother directly into the river. At that time, I felt like I was going to die. I'm going to die." His eyes were wide open, his eyes were about to bulge out. He stared at Bai Shan and said, "Everyone in this world is going to die, just like those chickens, ducks, cattle, and sheep, they are all going to die, but how? Only great people can choose." Bai Shan asked, "Do you think your father is amazing?" "Of course, he can control the life and death of my mother and my brothers and sisters." Jia Dalan stared at Bai Shan and said softly, "But I'm more powerful than him. I can beat him at the age of 14, he can only use his fists, and with my feet, I can use a knife, ha 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 ha. Forcing people by force is an extremely inferior method. You can't even convince people. Otherwise, how can you have human life in your hands?" Jia Dalan said indifferently, "They are not as capable as me, and they will die if they die. Anyway, they will always die in the end, right? There's a big difference between dying and being killed. Aren't they all dead? What's the difference?" Bai Shan didn't speak anymore. This person has no reverence for life, but for other people's lives and his own. He skipped this question and asked, "Since you don't care about life and death, why do you want to go to the county office to seek a future? There is a chance to live better, why don't I work hard for it? So looting Xiaoliu village is also for a better life. Good." Bai Shan frowned, "That's how many things. I don't think you're short of food and drink, why do you want to loot?" "I'm not short of food and drink, but I'm short of money," Jia Dalan said as a matter of course. "They have a good village and a lot of things. What's wrong with me taking some?" Bai Shan asked jumpingly, "Why do you want to slash people with a knife?" Jia Dalan clicked his tongue, and directly identified it as what he asked about Lu Erju's family, and said indifferently, "I think his daughter is not bad, and I want to take it away to see if I can give birth to a son, and I can't sell it. They can still make a fortune. Who would have known that their father and son are so ignorant? They will die sooner or later anyway, and if they are cut, they will be cut." "Bai Shan, the technique is quite familiar. I'm curious how many people you cut down to practice it?" "Not many people," Jia Dalan said. "It's just 3 or 4, right? Did your lord not ask them just now? I'm afraid there are omissions in what they said. Bai Shan leaned forward, stared at him and asked, if Lu Erzhu and his son were killed because they obstructed you, what about the others? Jia Dalin also leaned forward, looked up at Bai Shan and asked, does your lord know who else I cut? Bai Shan smiled slightly and said, your father is so resentful and afraid of you because of your knife. He wasn't there when you killed his friend, right? Jia Dalin felt that there was no interest. He turned his head and glanced at the people kneeling outside, and said blankly, not many people know about this. I thought they didn't know either, but I didn't expect them to know. Fang Xiancheng and the others who were standing on the sidelines were silent. Those 5 people didn't confess this matter at all. Okay. It's just that the adults asked the 5 Jia Dalin and his parents if anyone was missing or died mysteriously. That's right, Jia Dalin said, I killed him in front of him. That old man wasn't a good person, just like my father, he was a villain. Do you think he can't think about it? I'm so powerful that I can lift it up. Slashing my father with a knife, where did he have the face to preach to me? And said I was not filial, Jia Dalin said with a sarcastic smile, if he is filial, can he be as mad as my father? He said, if I kill my father, my mother will stop him, so I can't kill him, then I will kill this old thing, just to let my father see if I really kill people. It's the first time I have no experience in slashing people, and the blood splatters everywhere. Bai Shan asked casually, how did you become proficient later? Chop a pig, and if you chop another person, you can almost know where the blood is coming out, and it won't splatter all over the place. Therefore, in his hands, including the dog eggs who died of injuries, there are a total of 4 lives. Bai Shan was very curious, you've become so powerful, why didn't you think of asking the clan or the chief to seek justice for you and your mother? Jia Dalin was curious, what justice? Your father abused and bullied you for justice. Isn't it just right for a father to beat his son and a husband to beat his wife? Bai Shan, it's against ethics, how can it be justified? Jia Dalin was stunned for a while, and after a long while he burst into laughter, tears bursting out, isn't it just right? Why isn't this just right? It's just right for an old man to beat his son and a husband to beat his wife. He shouted loudly, everyone said so, this is the right thing to do. Bai Shan looked at him silently and said nothing. See you at 9. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2915. In the end, Jia Dalin went crazy and yelled in the lobby. Bai Shan felt that he couldn't talk anymore, so he waved someone to take him down and put him in a cell alone. Master Song was a little hungry and interrupted Bai Shan's contemplation, Sir, let's go eat. If you are starving, Lord Zhou will feel distressed. Bai Shan glanced at him. Master Song felt that his gaze was a little cold, but he couldn't help but raise his heart. Just when he smirked and wanted to change the subject, Bai Shan nodded slightly and replied, okay. He breathed a sigh of relief, so they went to eat. The 4 of them sat at a table. Bai Shan and Fang Xiancheng said, if Bihai County is to develop, then its eyes can't just focus on the salt field and the economy, and education should also be attentive. He said, the county school needs to pay close attention, but the education of the people should also be taken care of. This county does not want a second case like Jia Dalin to happen again. Fang Xiancheng respectfully replied yes. Master Song said, my lord, this is something that can't be helped. Isn't it normal for bad bamboo shoots to come out? They are broken from the root. Bai Shan looked at him with a frown, Master Song, the sages of Mencius all said that people are born with a heart of sympathy, good and evil, how could they be broken from the root? He turned his head and said to the county magistrate of Dong County and Bafang County, Jia Dalin's evil didn't start at a young age. If he was born in a different environment, he might not be like this. Therefore, This county emphasizes edification, so that you can educate adults and protect young children. Try to let them grow up in a normal environment. Instead of waiting for someone like Jia Dalan to be raised again one day before regretting not being educated in place. Fang Xiancheng and Dong Xianwei should go down. Lieutenant Dong asked, "Sir, what about the rest of the bandits? Those 5 people don't know much, and most of the reported names are repeated. There are many people who we don't know, but Jia Dalan. And he refused to talk to us about this topic." Master Song said, "What's the matter? It's all about punishment. Those 5 people were all recruited with a single fright. No matter how tough Jia Dalan's mouth is, it's almost the same with 2 punishments." Bai Shan ignored him and directly said to Wei Dong County, "Come to me after you have eaten, and the rest should really be brought back." As for how to arrest it, it was not difficult. He asked Wei Dong to quietly lift Feng Das Han out of the prison, and then asked him to go to the countryside with the 3 yeomen to inform Chang Jiali, "Just say I have seen them. The situation in the village, pity them for their hard work." The county government specially allocated 3 cows to them and asked him to go to the county town to collect them as soon as possible. He said, "You can inform Sun Likang again, and say that I have allocated 2 cows to them, and let him also come to the county." Wei Dong was stunned and asked, "Sir, won't they doubt it?" Bai Shan smiled coldly and said, "No, you can leave when you are notified, wait on the official road, and when you get to a secluded place, grab a sack and pull people over." He said, "The county seat is too far from there, I will go with you. After asking for the list, we will go directly to arrest people." Lieutenant Dong asked, "Sir, Song Patrol is still stationed in the mountains, what should he do there?" "Let him continue to wait and wait for our news," Bai Shan said. "Chang Sun may not know about this, but Chang Jia certainly knows. Go back and arrest people according to the list. You are smart. If there are people with abnormal expressions, make a note of it first, arrest everything you can, and then interrogate them one by one when you come back." Although the workload was heavy, he decided to clean up the atmosphere in the village, so he didn't plan to let anyone go. Wei Dong asked, "Do you want Father Jia to be included in the list?" Although he did not participate in the looting, Wei Dong believed that he also committed a serious crime in it. If it weren't for him, Jia Dalan might not have become like this, not taking other people's lives as his fate, nor his own. Bai Shan pondered for a moment and then said, "It's on the list, but we have to catch it on another day." He said slowly, "This county will make this a classic, warning people in this world to be disrespectful to their husbands, unkind to their fathers, and unkind to others. Violence is never a matter of course, even if they are facing their own sons and wife, that's not it either. So he deserves a special arrest. How can he be arrested with those people?" As soon as Bai Shan arranged it, he asked the 3 yeomen to pull Feng Das Han down, put on the yeoman's clothes, and went out to Dying Village. Bai Shan went back to the backyard to find Man Bao. Man Bao got up from a nap and was going to the hospital. When he saw him, he waved his paws and said hello. Bai Shanyi grabbed her paw and said to her, "I have to go out." "Man Bao, are you going to catch mountain bandits?" Bai Shan said, It will take about 3 or 4 days to come back." Man Bao asked, "Do you want me to go with you?" She said, "In case one is injured, I can still treat you." After thinking about it, Bai Shan said, "It's not good for you to leave the medical office and go out with me." "Oh, both the county government and the medical office are departments of the imperial court. Isn't it normal to cooperate with each other to reduce casualties?" Man Bao said, "There is Wen Tiandong here in the medical office. If he doesn't go out for a while, he can take care of the medical department." Bai Shan nodded, "We leave in the afternoon, it's early to leave early." Man Bao turned around and went out. "Let Zibing pack my luggage for me, and I'll find Wen Tiandong. At present, there are still no patients in the medical department, and Wen Tiandong is busy with the information of their free clinic during this period of time. And Zhou Man is the chief officer of the medical department. She said that she could leave immediately. She also picked up a batch of medicines from the medical office that can treat trauma, and said to Bai Shan in a business-like manner, looking back on how much you spent, you have to pay the full amount. You are not guaranteed by the medical office. Bai Shan, don't worry, I can give you the money when I sell the salt. Lieutenant Dong, standing behind the two of them. He endured it, but he still couldn't hold back, and exhorted, Sir, they all said that there are about 70 or 80 bandits in the mountains. This number is not too small, and the danger ahead is very dangerous. It is better to leave it to me and Song Patrol. Arrest people, adults, and Zhou adults stay at the county office and wait for our news. Bai Shan, after arresting Jia Likang, can you ask for the list from his mouth? Zhou Man, I'm going to be in charge of the medical treatment for the injured soldiers. I'm not going. Do you know how to puncture the needle to stop bleeding and get medicine to save people? Wei Dong was speechless. So the couple both rode on their horses, and the county magistrate Fang came to see them off. This time, they took away half of the yamen in the county government, plus Bai Shan's guards, there were 30 people. Bai Shan and Fang Xiancheng said, be optimistic about the prisoners in the prison, and also be optimistic about the county government, as long as the county government does not cause trouble. Sir, where is the salt farm? Fang Xiancheng said, you have transferred so many people away from the salt farm. Bai Shan sneered, the salt field in Longqi has been abandoned. Don't worry about them during this time. The county also wants to see how they can make trouble. As long as the new salt field is safe and sound, Bai Shan is not afraid of anything, and with Luo patrol personnel stationed there, Bai Shan is not afraid that someone will destroy it. If someone really went, it would be better to catch them right. See you tomorrow. I wish you all a healthy Dragon Boat Festival. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2916. From Dying Village to the county office, there is only one road leading to the official road, so as long as they stay at the entrance of the official road, they can always meet Jia Likang and Sun Likang who come out of it. Bai Shan arrived at the official road entrance and waited directly in the woods on both sides. The three yamen who were one step ahead took Feng Das Han out of the road and reported, Sir, both of you have already been notified. Bai Shan asked, has anyone come out? Yes, we said that the adults are concerned about farming and urged them to leave as soon as possible. When they left, they were ready to come. Bai Shan nodded and waved them back. The group waited in the woods for more than an hour, and then they saw Jia Likang and Sun Likang who were sitting on the ox cart on the official road. Bai Shan raised his eyebrows, but he didn't expect them to be so close, and they actually walked together. In addition to Jia Likang and Sun Likang, the two also brought an offspring each. At this time, they were sitting at one end of the ox cart listening to Jia Likang and Sun Likang boast. The county magistrate is very satisfied with our village, but seeing that our two villages are poor, he allocated an extra cow than yours. Sun Likang said angrily, I think the Lord wants to give a cow to the village you are in charge of, right? Bai Shan looked at Lieutenant Dongxian, and a yamen came quietly from the woods and said in a low voice, there is no one behind, there are only 4 of them on the whole road. Bai Shan nodded, raised his hand a little bit forward, and said with a cold expression, take it down, block your mouth, and don't let them yell. When the yamen officers heard that, they immediately rushed from the woods like wolves to the Jia Likang, who had just driven to the entrance of their official road. The 4 of them only had time to let out a scream and half a sentence, what are you doing, you are woo woo woo. The 4 were tied up, gagged and dragged in front of Bai Shan. Sun Likane had also met Bai Shan, so when he saw Bai Shan, he struggled violently, not knowing why he was arrested. Jia Likane didn't know either, so he struggled a bit when he saw Bai Shan, but when he saw Feng Das Han kneeling not far away, and seeing that he no longer had the official uniform of the Yamen, he immediately had a bad premonition. Bai Shan looked down at them from a condescending position, and saw the expressions of both of them in his eyes. He raised his hand and had Sun Likane be pushed aside first, then paced to Jia Likang to look at him. Jia Likane's mouth was gagged, and he could only look at him with his neck up, his eyes were complicated and he had all kinds of emotions. Bai Shan looked away at the young man who was being pinned beside him, and asked, "If this county remembers correctly, he is your second son?" Jerry could only nod his head. Bai Shan said, "Jia Dalan said that all three of your sons participated in the looting of Xiaoliu village. When the county lived in your house, I really didn't see that they had the courage." Jerry's long eyes instantly widened, and he screamed, struggling violently and shaking his head. Jia Erlang, who was beside him, was also terrified. He shook his head again and again, crying bitterly while denying it. Bai Shan waited for their father and son to get excited before saying, "This county doesn't like people shouting. If you have something to say, take it out of your mouth and say it slowly. If you don't want to say it, wait for this county to confess Jia Dalan and others." The people who came out were arrested together, and after returning to the county government, they sent you to a bunch and then decided whether to say it or not. This time Jia Li also cried, and he nodded at Bai Shan again and again. Only then did Bai Shan motion for the Yamen to step forward and take the cloth from his mouth. As soon as he took it out, Jia Likang immediately said, "Sir, you can't believe what Jia Dalan said. How could my three sons do such a depraved thing? They didn't participate in the looting of Xiaoliu village." "They didn't participate, what about you?" Jia Likang's face turned pale and said, "Me, neither do I don't know anything about this." Bai Shan sneered, "Really? But the county didn't look like you didn't know anything when you identified it just now." He looked at him condescendingly and said, "Do you know why this county brought Feng Das Han? As the saying goes, capture the thief first, capture the king. Jia Dalan has a saying that makes sense. Are there people in this village who are more powerful than you? You can organize so many people to loot Xiaoliu village. This bandit leader is not you. No way." These words fell in Jia Likang's ears, that is, Jia Dalan pushed everything he did to Jia Likang. Jia Likang paled in shock, only feeling that the sky was falling, and he shook his head at Bai Shan. No, sir, you can't believe what that bully Jia Dalan said. He is famous for bringing disaster to the township." "My bully, he was the one who led the looting of Xiaoliu village, and it has nothing to do with me." Bai Shan looked at him quietly. Jia Likang met his indifferent gaze, gritted his teeth, and could only kowtow, "Sir, the little one is guilty. The little one knows about this but didn't report it. It's a small sin, but it has nothing to do with the little sons. They really don't know anything." Bai Shan smiled, sat down on a stone, leaned forward to look at Jia Likang and said, "You are quick to react and know the choice." Jerry Chang was shaking all over, obviously scared. Bai Shandao, "Okay, this county can listen to you and tell the story of your side to see what is different from the process of Jia Dalan's confession." Jia Likang raised his hand and wiped the sweat on his forehead. He wanted to listen to what he had to say. After all, it was not a one-sided remark of Jia Dalan. Then Jia Dalan is a villain in 8 townships. Years ago, they got tangled up with a bunch of bastards, crossed the mountain and sneaked into Xiaoliu village at night, and robbed Xiaoliu village. Jia Likang quietly raised his head to look at Bai Shan, and saw that he was listening with a calm expression, and stared at him with a pair of cold eyes. Jia Likang shuddered, and although it was a little hard to say, he still bravely continued, "Because there are many people involved in the looting, many of them are from Dying village and Xiaojing village, and there is also my Jia family's son, so I also heard some wind. The following words are more difficult to say, but Jia Likane still said, I asked someone to ask, and then I found out about it. He immediately said, I was going to report it to the county government at that time, but Jia Dalan received the news and brought someone to threaten me. My lord, my family's lives are in his hands, I have to listen to him. He said, although I couldn't report it at the time, I always wanted to report this matter to the adults, especially after the adults took office. Bai Shan sneered in his heart. After he took office, he has summoned the chiefs of various townships more than once, and he has also entered the county government more than once. Who would believe it? However, it doesn't matter at the moment, it's only when you go back to the county office to tell the difference. Bai Shan asked him with a sneer, since he has threatened you with people, it seems that you also know about the people who participated in the looting of Xiaoliu village? Report to this county to hear about it, and some of them confessed to Jia Dalan. What a difference, since you said that your son did not participate, is your son added to the list, or has he replaced some people? Li Chang, who originally wanted to dodge that he didn't remember, was stunned, swallowed, and immediately reported all the people he had found out, even those he suspected he had not identified. See you at 6 p.m. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 2917. The clerk on the side wrote hard, and it took a long time to write down the list reported by the Likane. There are not only names, but also the townships, and villages where they are located, as well as the circumstances of their homes. Bai Shan stretched out his hand to take it and glanced at it, then lowered his eyes to look at Jia Likane. You checked it out quite clearly. Jia Likane opened his mouth and wanted to tell the excuse he had come up with a long time ago. For example, he wanted to find out and report it to the county government. But what he did before, obviously no one would believe what he said, and even he himself knew that it was too contradictory. So he closed his mouth sullenly, lowered his head and said nothing. Bai Shan handed the list to the clerk, and then turned to look at Sun Likane. Sun Likane was stunned. The whole process of arresting and interrogation made him stunned. Even now, he is still stunned. As he was stunned, when he met Bai Shan's gaze, he was shocked, and immediately began to whimper and kowtow. Bai Shan motioned to the yaman to take the cloth from his mouth. Sun Li's mouth was free, and he immediately said, Sir, I don't know anything about this, I really don't know anything. Bai Shan said blankly, this is nothing to show off and be happy about. There are so many gangsters in the villages under your control, but you don't know anything about it. Maybe you are not as cruel as Jia Li, but you the incompetence must be above him. Sun Likane froze all over and was speechless for a moment. Judging from the list given by Jia Likane, most of the bandits under Jia Dalan's hands were from Jialakang Ili, followed by the hundreds of households under the jurisdiction of Sun Likane, and some were from other Li. If the list published by Jia Likane is true, or there is not much difference, then the gangsters under Sun Likane are second only to Jialakang, and he still doesn't know anything. So incompetent, what is there to be thankful for? Bai Shan asked him, do you really know nothing? Sun Likane should not be this time, should not be. Yes, then he is as incompetent as Bai Shan said, no, then he is an accomplice. But he really doesn't know anything. In the end, Sun Likane's desire for survival outweighed his face. Incompetence is better than cooperating with bandits, so he nodded with tears in his eyes, Sir, I really don't know anything. Bai Shan, how many of the people Jia Likane said just now, how many do you remember? Seeing his confused face, Bai Shan added, just the people in you don't need to remember the others. More sweat appeared on Sun Likane's forehead, this, 7 or 8. Bai Shan squinted his eyes and asked, which 7 or 8? Sun Hung, Xiu Da Chun, Sun Likane swallowed and said uncertainly, and Xiu Dali. Bai Shan was sure, his Liqiang didn't seem to be very smart. He glanced down at him, and finally took the list and asked, "Are the houses in your village compact? Where is Sun Heng's house, and where is Xiu Dachun's house?" Bai Shan asked every one of them on his list, and after getting to know the approximate house and residence, he took a large piece of paper and drew some pictures. Only the approximate location of their house was drawn, but it was enough for Bai Shan to realize the difficulty of arresting. Unlike the houses in Daying village and Xiaojing village, which are more concentrated, it is more scattered here. And the arrest of Daying village and Xiaojing village was not easy. There were a lot of people who committed crimes in the two villages. Not including the 6 people who had already been arrested, there were still 38 people in total. Among them, there are 3 brothers in one household, and 2 brothers in 3 households are on the list, which perfectly interprets what is called family style and what is wrong with the upper beam and the lower beam. There are 39 households in 100 households in a mile, and there are 39 households who have fallen into trouble. This ratio makes Bai Shan's face even darker. In addition to the 6 people who have already been arrested, there are 33 households in these 2 villages who need to be arrested. There are a lot of people arrested, and if you can't hit them with a single blow, it will be difficult to arrest people later. These people are not alone. Although the atmosphere of Daying village and Xiaojing village is not good, no one can predict whether their arrest will make the villagers unite to resist the arrest. Even Lieutenant Dong County was worried, and whispered to Bai Shan, "Sir, either we only capture the bandit leader, or we have to borrow troops from Qingzhou City." Bai Shan lowered his eyes and pondered, then shook his head after a while. "If they have no choice but to fall for the grass, the county can naturally open the door and only arrest the bandit leader, but these people, in a year of good weather and no accident, will fall for the grass and become bandits after looting the village. If you can pretend that nothing happened, then you are not desperate, but human beings are inherently evil. If such a person is not punished, what is the reason for heaven? In the future, if someone learns from them because of the county's forgiveness, where will those victims be?" Bai Shan said with a tight face, "So I must punish them severely, and I will never tolerate them. That must be caught. Dong Xianwei also prefers to arrest these people. These people are too hateful. This place is far away from the county seat. As a county captain, it is difficult for him to take care of this place. The atmosphere is not good. Still have to take advantage of the time when it is not very serious. Then the adults will have to borrow soldiers. Bai Shandao, I have already sent a letter to the magistrate of Lu, and I also wrote an official document to Governor Guo before I came. If they agree to send troops, they will send them here directly, but we can't wait for them now." Bai Shan tilted his head to look at Feng Das Han, who was kneeling beside him, and said, "Although Jia Dalan is arrogant, he is also suspicious. If he wants to change places, he should go to a place like the county government office, and he will definitely report to the people under him. If the letter is not received after a long period of time, the people under his command will probably realize that something is wrong." Bai Shan said, "Is it already the 6th day since I took him away from Daying village?" Lieutenant Dong Xian was stunned for a moment and then said, "Yes. So we will arrest people tonight, we can't delay, we can arrest one person." Bai Shan snorted coldly, "If you can't arrest people, this county will have to see if they have the courage to actually go up the mountain. Let the grass fall for the pirates. Send someone to inform Song Patrol, let him cook rice, and bring the soldiers down after eating." Lieutenant Dong Xian could only respond, "Song Patrol is stationed on the mountain facing Xiaoliu village. They bring their own dry food and pots. They have been feeding mosquitoes on the mountain for 4 days. They say that they want to protect Xiaoliu village at the bottom of the mountain, but Xiaoliu village at the bottom of the mountain is not only harvesting wheat. No shit, what are you protecting?" Zhengguo felt a little uncomfortable, and the Yamen came to inform them, "The Lord said that you need to move at night, and let the inspection inspectors cook rice now, and go down the mountain to gather before dark. Inspector Song took the official document and looked at it, scratched the bag that was bitten on his face, and asked irritably, "What's the action? Is there really a bandit in a place where birds don't poop?" As soon as the words fell, a group of birds returned to Lin to sleep for the night. When they passed by Song Patrol's head, they gave him a piece of bird shit. Song Patrol. Servant. The yaman looked away with difficulty and said, "Song Patrol, it's because birds don't poop, that's why there are bandits. The plane was a little late today, so the update was a lot late, but I don't think I was annoyed when it was late. What I was annoyed about was that I took the subway after getting off the plane. I went to buy a ticket. There was only one lady in front of me. She recharged 10 yuan, recharged it, I thought it was my turn, but it didn't. She quit and continued to recharge, 10 yuan, scanned the code to recharge, I took a step forward. But she ordered recharge again, this time to recharge 30, she scanned the QR code to pay, I continued to wait, but she exited after recharging and ordered another recharge of 50. If I could go back in time to 15 minutes ago, I wouldn't be behind her, I'd turn around and go behind the longer line.